Good day, good morning, everyone, and thank you for joining us here today. And welcome to MASCA National's first Suara Muda webinar of 2024. My name is Nicholas, and I'm the Deputy Chairperson of MASCA National. And I will be hosting today's webinar alongside Candice. Would you like to introduce yourself?
Yep, thanks, Nicholas. My name is Candice, and I'm the Corporate Relations Director of MASCA National.
Yeah, so we hope you will enjoy hearing from our incredible lineup of panelists today. We've got three, really inspiring speakers. I think if you look at their backgrounds, they've got a very diverse range of experiences. So please make the most of this webinar. Feel free to ask questions because it's quite an open format, and we'd like to hear from you. And of course, we hope you learn something about the issue of brain drain in Malaysia. So before we proceed, on behalf of MASCA, we would like to acknowledge the traditional custodians of the land on which we are all gathering from. We would like to pay our respects to their elders past, present, and emerging. We at MASCA would also like to thank MAAC, or the Malaysian Australian Alumni Council, for their support in making this event possible.
All right, thanks, Nicholas. Now let me provide a quick overview of today's session. 1 hour of the webinar will be allocated for discussion and 30 minutes for a free Q&A session. During the panel discussion, feel free to put any questions you have in the chat so that they can be raised during the Q&A session later. And just as a housekeeping reminder, please keep questions appropriate for our speakers and respect their expertise when posing any questions. Allow me to also remind everyone that we will be hosting a lucky draw at the end of the event. This is only open to participants who are here today and who have registered through our link, so make sure you have registered and stick around. If you haven't registered yet, a QR code will be briefly shown on the next slide. Please note that our session today is being recorded and will be posted on our YouTube channel, which you should check out later after the event. Remember, you may be one of our 3 lucky winners to be selected to win a gift card. So stick around to the end, and I hope you enjoy the event.
Yeah, so we'll just leave the QR for just a couple more seconds, but I've left the link in the chat, so feel free to register if you haven't done so already. We will close the form just before we begin. All right, now let's officially kick off our discussion on today's topic. Brain drain, at least from what the internet will tell you, refers to the emigration of skilled individuals in search of better opportunities abroad. And it's a challenge that our country has been grappling for some time. And with nearly 2 million Malaysians living overseas, we're looking at a brain drain rate of approximately 6%. So this trend poses significant implications for our nation's development, including heightened dependency on foreign expertise and labor, and the potential for slower economic growth. That said, there are opportunities for change, and various initiatives are currently underway to tackle this issue. So we hope that this webinar will encourage all of you to take an interest in and engage with these efforts.
Of course, we don't want to spill too much just yet because we want to hear from our experts on this matter. Today, we are privileged to host a panel of experts who possess diverse experiences in the area of brain drain. Through this Suara Muda, we want to uncover compelling insights about brain drain, explore government initiatives, and hear firsthand how to make most of what's being offered. Now, we'd like to first introduce the speaker, Chua Ping. Hello and welcome to Suara Muda. Would it be all right if you give us a brief introduction of yourself?
Hi, good day, and thank you very much for having me. My name is Chai Ping. I'm the countryside leader and as well as the HR director for Experian Malaysia. I spent 7.5 years here. Prior to this, I was in Accenture. I spent many years also in Deloitte, right, in consulting, and then HR, and then also looked after the Asia Pacific region. My current role is, while I'm situated in Malaysia, my role is a global role, right? And a bit of trivia. I've also got a son studying in Melbourne, and he thinks he will come home, right? one day. He said, "Don't worry, mommy, I will come home." So I said, "Sure, you know, the country looks forward to that." So thank you very much for having me again today.
Thank you so much for your introduction, Taiping. And now for our second panelist, Shazween Shafii from TalentCorp. Yes, thank you so much for joining us here today. And would you be able to give us a brief introduction of yourself?
Hi, thank you, Candice. Thank you, Nicholas. Hello, Taiping. Good morning, everyone. My name is Shazween, and I represent TalentCorp for today's panel discussion. So maybe just a bit of background of what I do in TalentCorp. So I've been with TalentCorp for 8 years already, and most of my time in TalentCorp is um, um, developing programs and initiatives for Malaysians abroad, including students like you as well. So we want to change the narrative of brain drain into something what we call brain circulation, which we'll be discussing more later during the panel discussion. But our goal is just to provide a more inclusive approach to Malaysians abroad. And I'm excited to share more on how students like you could take a proactive approach to your career, whether your path leads to you returning back or staying back to your in Australia and continue to work in Australia. So looking forward to that. So thank you very much.
Thank you so much for that, Shazween. And last but certainly not least, we have Professor Yong Chen from the University of Malaya. And yes, would you please share a bit about yourself?
Yeah, thank you, Candice, and good morning, everyone, especially to Nicholas, for inviting me to share the knowledge and experience with all of you. I hope all of you are doing great out there. I'm Chen. I'm currently a academician from Faculty of Business and Economics. I'm specialized in labor economics. So my research area is mainly focused on labor economics, especially in career search, job search interventions. Currently doing these projects together with University of Pennsylvania and also World Bank. So I hope I can share some insightful information with all of you. Yeah, thank you.
Perfect, thank you. And now we have heard the brief introductions from all our expert panelists here today. Let's dive into our discussion. In this first session, we'll focus on the nature of brain drain in Malaysia, a situation that many perceive as dire and may severely harm the country. However, the reality is more nuanced and there are viable solutions to this challenge.
Yeah, so we'll hear from our speakers about what brain drain truly entails and exploring key statistics and some of the underlying drivers behind this phenomenon. This foundational knowledge will set the stage for section 2, where we'll examine initiatives aimed at addressing brain drain, or as Shazween put it, brain circulation. So you'll definitely want to stay tuned, as some of those initiatives may directly benefit you.
Thanks, Nicholas. And now for our first question for section 1, maybe Professor Yong Chen can help us out with this. Could you provide an overview of the current state of the brain drain in Malaysia?
Okay, thank you for the questions. First, let me give a brief definition of what is brain drain. I think brain drain is in the context of, it's happened everywhere. Okay, is where our skilled workers migrate to developed country for better opportunities. So-called better opportunities could be for a better education quality, higher salary, changing for better quality of life. So in terms of statistics, all the while labor economics looking at the brain drain issues, we actually focus on a few statistics. We are not solely depends on only one statistics like migrations or immigration statistics, but on top of that, actually we look at the lead indicators and the lag indicators. So those lead indicators that provide a signals of to what extent the brain drain issues will be or we are facing. So those lead indicator includes like increasing immigration rate. That means those locals, peoples are migrating abroad. Okay, could be for working purpose, could be for better educations, But besides that, we're also looking at the lower enrollment in the local universities, especially for our local students. So they're applying to pursue their educations in overseas or abroad. Okay, another indicator that serves as a lead indicators to portray the signals of the brain drain is the increasing or persistent unfilled job vacancy, especially those skilled workers. Okay, and also there's of course increase in the application of foreign work permits. These serve as a lead indicator. So these portray that these statistics actually are increasing over time. So it's quite worrying, but not necessarily is a bad thing. Yeah, because brain drain happens everywhere around the corner in the world. But what we need to focus is on the lack indicators to show what is the impact on it. First, of course, is economic growth, okay, due to the lack of skills workers that we have. Okay, and the second one is the lower innovation rates. Yeah, so as of now, innovation rate is quite, reasonable, and is improving and increasing over the time. So that capture the severities or the extent, the impact of the brain drain issues. So innovation rate, if it shows an increase, reducing rates, that is quite worried. Yeah. So another one is the skill shortage. Of course, is the skilled workers is migrating towards abroad. Another issue is reducing in the tax revenue, because those earning higher incomes, they are not paying the tax to the home country. That is another one. And another issue is those migrating abroad, they are leaving their parents behind. That accelerates the aging population. So those are the statistics shows the impact towards the economy. Yeah, over to you. That's all from my end. Thanks.
Thank you so much, Professor. And I think you mentioned something that, yes, the brain drain is not an issue that only Malaysia faces, but what are the main factors that are driving skilled individuals to leave Malaysia, and how does this compare to other countries?
I think the common factor is the economic disparity. Very obvious, the exchange rate is beyond our control. Yeah, you can see the exchange rate between Malaysia and other countries. So that is the main reason, economic disparity, I would say so. Yeah, and the main reason we can divide into few economic opportunities. They are for better, assessment of infrastructures, maybe healthcare. Yeah, so previously, our education's opportunity is very limited. Yeah, and the economic stages, development is not that, stable. So people are looking for better quality of life. That is in our old batch of, those are looking forward to migrate for better opportunities for educations, for better salary, quality of life, and also to assess the infrastructures. And of course, some of them could be lack of the government's, confidence in managing our political issues. But I think a young batch, you are the futures of our leaders as well. The young batch, you prefer to pursue or migrate abroad. It could be first is the economic disparity is very obvious because of the exchange rate, and they want to explore more, okay, to see what is the cultures, especially to those countries, their international hub, to gain more experience. Yeah, and of course for better remunerations and for working conducive working environment. But more importantly is the career growth, because developed country, they are more advanced compared to developed and less developed country. Of course, they have better opportunities and career growth for them. Yeah, that's all from my end. Thank you.
Thank you so much, Professor. And now I'd like to open up the floor to our other two panelists. If there's anything you would like to add about what factors you think are driving people to leave Malaysia.
If I may chime in, I think I'm a parent myself, and I also studied abroad, but I decided to come home and never left the country again, because my parents. So if I can give a bit of background, my mother was a police officer, and she served in the civil service from 1960. So if you think about civil service at that point, my father worked in Singapore, and he actually spent many, many years, and I'm talking about the 50s and the 60s in Australia, right? 10 years in Australia in the 50s and the 60s. But he decided to come home because my grandparents are from China. One call from my grandmother, and he says, it's time for you to come back to build a country, because this country has given us a lot. So being influenced by my parents, when I finished, my studies, of course, the uncles and aunties and your circle of friends and whatnot. And say, oh, you got the opportunity to study in Australia, you should stay there, the quality of life is better, and so on and so forth. But I made the decision. Even my mom said, if you wanted to, kind of travel the world or work overseas for a while, you can do that. But I never took that opportunity because I thought that Malaysia has given me a lot. Up until today, I've worked for 28 years. I came back in the mid-90s. And of course, right, to what Prof. Chen said, right, you may think that there are no opportunities, but I think sometimes you make those opportunities, right? I'll give you 1 or 2 examples. About 15 or 18 years ago, when the accounting and finance fraternity, so if there are any accountants or aspiring accountants, in the room today, please shout out. I was in Deloitte, and the Ministry of Finance called the Big Four, and the Big Four was, of course, Deloitte, PwC, KPMG, and EY, and said that we need to build more accountants in this country, and specifically more Bumiputra accountants in this country. Why? Because of the total population of finance professionals, we only have 14% Bumiputra. We need to raise that. And we as a Big Four, went to MOF and taught how to do it. And we did that, and we disrupted. So for those of you who are familiar with, professional accounting qualifications, not many opportunities were here. If we had the Malaysia accounting or Malaysia CPA, which is now rebranded to, I think is MICPA now, that was very, very difficult. And people kind of shy away from it. To what Prof said, people shy away because there were no opportunities. So we created the opportunity. So I'm very, very proud to say that me, together with many of my counterparts in the Big Four and the professional fraternity, professional accounting fraternity, we went to Sunway College, we went to the different colleges, we went to actually as well, and said, how do we build it? Because this is what do you call it, nation building, right? And we were today, so for those of you who are familiar with ACCA, ICAW, CPA Australia, right, ICA and whatnot, and of course with the Malaysian professional accounting qualification as well. In those days, ICAW, you have to have a UK degree to be able to do that. You have to do it in the UK. That is the only route. Now, if you're talking about the 80s, the 90s, and up to about almost 2000, how many students can afford, education in the UK? We disrupted that. We went to Sunway University and a couple of other universities. We said that bring ICAW into Malaysia. We did that. Today, we have thousands of ICAW trained, right? And guess who the world prize winners are? Malaysians. The world prize winner, I'm not talking a Malaysia prize winner, I'm talking about world prize. So anybody taking ICAW around the globe, the world prize winners are won in Malaysia. How did we disrupt? We talked to Sunway, ACCA, from Form 5, we cream you. You're very, very good. You go into CAT, we cream you again. And then because Sunway does ACCA as well as ICAW, ACCA, cream them into ICAW, and then they go into, they don't immediately, they don't need a university degree as yet. They go straight into professional qualification, and they are as good, if not better. So I think here lies the opportunity or opportunities for people like you and I, right, to create that. And that's only one example I'm telling you. There's so many examples, right, over my 28 years, right, of working that we've done. And together with my compatriots, my industry partners, my peers, and so much collaboration with TalentCorp. I'm very, very familiar. Of course, I'm sure I've seen Shazween many times in the TalentCorp and together with academia, right? So I'll pause there. I know I've said a lot. I just wanted to share that thought, right? As you're embarking or as a young talent, you think, and a lot of times, the last part I wanted to say is parents must make Malaysia an option. I'm a parent myself. My parents gave us an option. They always say, oh, you want to work in London or Hong Kong or Singapore or Australia, stay back. And I said, But my mother never said, don't come home. My father never said that, right? So make Malaysia, of course, the world is your oyster. There's a whole list of so many other countries you can go and work, but please make Malaysia one of your many options. Don't count, rule it out. All right, so I'll pause there. Thank you very much.
Thank you so much for sharing that, Chai Ping. Yeah, so that was really about driving positive change in Malaysia and really showing the great achievements one can achieve back home as well. And Shazween, do you have anything else to add?
Oh, yeah. Chai Ping was speaking about how she studied in Australia, Chai Ping, is that right? Or in the UK, in Australia. So I am also an Australian university graduate. I studied in Perth. And as you can see, Perth is very, very close to Malaysia, and that is why I was in Perth, because I have these conventional parents where they will not allow me to go study too far from Malaysia. But the reason why I just want to point this out, the reason why I chose to study in outside of Malaysia, it's because I have this perspective of higher ranking universities would do me good, would bring me to somewhere in my career. So I was exposed, because I was a Sunway alumni as well. I did my diploma in Sunway University, and Sunway University are affiliated with many good or top universities abroad, especially in the UK and Australia. So I was exposed to this kind of information, and a lot of my peers or my friends are also planning to study abroad once they graduated diploma, and that is all right. I mean, you chose to be exposed to the different culture altogether, especially in the education system, and you chose to have to be in a university that is a good university, top university, because we all know that Australia has many good universities, top ranking universities. But then again, after I graduated, people are always saying that the grass is greener somewhere, or the grass is greener on the other side. But I chose to do something good on this side. So that's why I decided to return after I graduated and basically contribute to Malaysia, especially in nation building. And I'm very proud to be in TalentCorp for this 8 years, doing good to our Malaysians abroad nationwide. Yeah, that's all from me.
Yeah, thank you so much for that, Shazween. Yeah, and I think we've heard a lot about what makes other countries particularly attractive. Are there any downsides for the individual themselves? You think when they travel abroad and they study abroad, what would be the sort of disadvantages to that?
Candice, do you mean what are the disadvantages of studying abroad? Is that what you mean?
Yes, for the individual. I think we've talked a lot about economically for the country, but what do you think for the person, for the individual themselves?
The downside, I think missing home, right? Obviously, nasi lemak and teh tarik, it is really not quite the same. No matter how I travel, with my work, I've been to so many places, and when you jump on, I try to fly Malaysia Airlines despite whatever happens to Malaysia Airlines. But when you are on Malaysia Airlines, when you touch down, selamat pulang ke tanah air, every time makes me cry, every time. And I was in Bangkok 2 days ago for work as well. And the moment it touched down and said, selamat pulang ke tanah air, I was like, oh my God, it's going to make me cry again, right? And I always tell the crew, because Malaysia Airlines crew, despite what they go through, is still seriously, if not the best, one of the best crews. And I fly quite a few airlines because of connectivity, right? Just that Malaysian hospitality, right? They really wanting you to feel at home and all that, right? So loneliness is a big thing. So like Shazween, my dad was in Perth. He was also a town planner in Perth for many, many years. And therefore I said, okay, I'll just continue his legacy, go to Perth, because my mom says, 4 hours, 4.5 hours, not so far. And then we've got family and friends and all that. Then I said, Mom, I'll be fine. But anyway, so I think loneliness, and in the days when so I went over in 1991. So I spent so many years there. And I remember it's not like I just called my son before this, right? It's just press WhatsApp, FaceTime, you get it, right? In those days, you line up, right, on the telephone booth, and then you wait, as soon as, and then you hear the kashing, the coins going down, and then you hear your mom's voice or your dad's voice, you start crying, and then there's a long queue behind you, and you're like, okay, stop crying, talk, and then kashing, okay, running out of money, then kashing, and the long queue is waiting, and embarrassingly, I'm trying to talk, long queue looking at you. Can you just hurry? I want to call my parents, don't want to call home too. So those were the days, right? Of course, just missing home is a big factor, and then change of scene, right? And whether you can adapt. But human beings are so good at adapting, surviving, right? And then you tell yourself, you only get this one chance, and you've got, I've got brothers, younger brothers, right? And they say, okay, I said, I'm just going to make sure I do good. Yes, I did very well. I even got, the Australian. I said, I'm not going to deprive my Malaysians, so I'm going to try to get an Australian scholarship, subsidy. I didn't get a full scholarship. I got a subsidy. So I said, okay, Australian government gave me a subsidy. I said, yes, okay, let's go for it. So that it's easier on my parents. And then, of course, more Malaysians can get Malaysian scholarships, right? So that was my going in. But the missing, right? And of course, in the 90s, Malaysia was kind of booming as well, right? We had our Twin Towers and all that. And for the years that I was abroad, every time I come back, you're like, wow, of course, Twin Towers was built when I was away, halfway built when I came back, and then, continue. So every time you come back, right, you miss out on growing together with the nation. But looking back, you also realize, now that I've been back for so many years, you realize that it's okay, to what Shazween said, right? Having exposure elsewhere, seeing something else, and getting different experiences hopefully enriches us. And when we come back, we've got different perspectives to bring to the table. And that drives, hopefully, the innovation, accelerates that to what, Chen was saying earlier, because you need to have different perspectives. Don't be katak di bawah tempurung. Don't ever be, the frog under the well you've never seen. And don't be that jago kampung. Very important. Don't think that you are already great. You're not. Share perspectives, hyper collaboration, that drives, and diversity of views, experiences, and many, many things, right? Diversity will bring the country forward and accelerate innovation. I'll pause there.
Yeah, maybe I can share a little bit from my end. I'm actually a very typical local products made in Malaysia. So I get my diploma degree until PhD from the local public universities in Malaysia. The reason behind I'm not choosing to, of course, I received the opportunities to pursue my educations, but I ended up making a decision because my family, I'm a sibling of 5. I'm the last one, the youngest one. So my brothers got into UK, and during crisis 1997 is a heavy financial burdens to my families. So that is my first reason not going to, to burden again for my parents. And the second thing is the weather is my main concern. Everyone loves winter time, but I'm the the outliers. Yeah. Then the most reason that I make my decision stay in Malaysia all the time, because the opportunity given to me is there is a lot of opportunities right there through collaborations with international partners. During my time, we have these mobilities programs. You can go there just for travels, learning purpose. A short term will do. Yes, that what I prefer. And I prefer to go to multiple countries rather than staying too long in one particular countries. Yeah, because when I stay there, of course, I will take the opportunity to travel. That even worse, I need to spend more money. Yeah. Again, for me, I make a decision based on what is the return on investment for education. I will do a calculation from there, because starting afresh after graduated, everything is starting from zero. You still need experience. So those experiences are very dependent on your soft skill and how you adapt to different environments. So this is up to you how you actually mold yourself into that environment. So the returns of investment in educations, is the main factors that help me out to make this decision. Another one that I think that Malaysia is a great place because we have multi-races, multi-ethnics. I would like to stay here because my friends, we have a different, race, most Malay friends, For me, it's like we have different culture, different social style that I need to learn. So I think if I migrate to or having a chance to live in others country, they will ask me how we communicate. Yeah, the working culture. Even in Malaysia, I cannot adapt into that environment. How people will look at you. So that made me stay in Malaysia. Yeah, thank you.
Thank you so much, Professor. And thanks for your insights as well, Chai Ping. Nicholas, do you have any questions before we move on?
Yeah, no, I definitely think the whole thing about return on investment for education, spoken like a true economist, I think. But yeah, I think it's good to hear, and I think it's definitely true. I think another question is when we look at like improving technology, how would you say things like remote work, digital nomadism, how do you think that can influence brain drain in Malaysia? Could it make it worse, or could it make it better? What do you think?
Maybe I can go ahead with this. Yeah, in my opinion, technology is just a tools to help us to bring us to a better environment or better place. The more important thing is how you make your skill relevant with or together with this technology. That one actually we learn from all the knowledge we gain from all around the world. That makes us shine out, and I mean in a long-term impact. So think about after graduated, with all those knowledge you have learned, including social knowledge or others, but how you make your skill relevant, yeah, to different industries or in building your career growth. Yeah, actually technologies that accelerate the process and make things become easier and accessible for us, to pick up every tiny thing and make us very agile. Yeah, that is the point. So technology, of course, we know that there's a good and bad side, but it's how we make sure our skill actually relevance to the needs of the industry and the market. That is most important. Yeah, thank you.
Okay, so you were saying just now, Nicholas and Candice, about how brain drain is not an isolated issue just in Malaysia or a predicament unique to Malaysia. It's happening globally because we have over 200 millions of people traveling or perhaps migrating outside of their home country. So that is where we need to change the way we think of our Malaysians abroad, and it needs to be evolved into brain circulation. So this is what I'm mentioning just now earlier, the brain circulation. So what it means is essentially we are gaining the knowledge and expertise and experiences from these Malaysians who have been so long staying abroad, working abroad, gaining all this expertise and knowledge, and at the end of the day, it will benefit our Malaysian talents or Malaysia economically, if through collaboration opportunities, through investment opportunities. So this is where we adopt a more holistic approach, a more inclusive approach, rather than just solely focusing on those or repatriation initiatives. So what we have in TalentCorp is what we call the Malaysia at Heart initiative. So, or My Heart for short. So for My Heart is where we provide the platform for Malaysians abroad to actually connect and share their experiences, share their expertise with one another. So through this My Heart platform, we have plenty of facilitation initiatives that they are able to contribute, even if they are still abroad. So geographical locations are not to deter in the sense where they still want to contribute, even if they don't have any intention to return. So this is where we have this My Heart initiative to ensure that even those who do not want to return but still want to contribute in any form, they are able to do so via this My Heart platform. So yeah, that's from me in terms of break circulation. Yep.
Right. Thank you, everyone, for such a great discussion. I think most people see it, the brain drain issue, as very simplistic and I think now we have learned that the case of moving abroad, in reality, it's a lot more nuanced. There are a lot of factors that affect the individual and affect their families. So with that being said, I'd like to move us to our second session for the day. Nicholas, would you like to take over, Nicholas?
Absolutely. So yeah, I think we've got a pretty good idea of what brain drain means, and kind of what the factors are behind it. And I think start to turn towards the discussions that are being launched to help Malaysians. And then, of course, Shazween touched upon my heart, but I think we can definitely spend some time in this section to explore some of these in a bit more detail. So, as we mentioned in the introduction, definitely keep your ears open throughout this section because many of these initiatives may be available to you, as a lot of you would be students, in Australia, and then perhaps considering going home, or if not, then from our speakers' discussion, that should definitely be on the table. So yeah, keeping that prospect of returning to Malaysia open and just being aware of some of these platforms that might help you might make that transition easier. So I think on that note, the first question for this discussion, we'll keep it quite broad, but I think we'll perhaps direct it to Shazween from TalentCorp just for now, because TalentCorp is kind of the organization mandated by the government to help with addressing some of these issues. And so you talked about things like My Heart. Could you describe some of these for our students that might be curious and perhaps might want to make use of that in the future?
Yeah, thank you, Nicholas. Before I get into in more detail of what My Heart is and how do we envision to ensure that everyone can benefit from My Heart, I just wanted to point out a survey that was done by Hayes Asia Overseas Returnees in 2019. They found that Malaysians abroad face certain challenges when considering returning home. What are they? I believe Professor Chen was already mentioning it just now. We're looking into salary gaps. So the salaries and benefits that they are earning abroad are not comparable to what is being offered in Malaysia. Another thing is the mismatch of in-job opportunities. So they may find it difficult to find jobs that match their qualifications and experiences. Aside from that, we have unfamiliarity with the local job market because these Malaysians have been abroad for so many years. They might not understand or how to navigate the Malaysian job market. And of course, if they're with families, with children, it's challenging for them to return, mainly because they will need to adapt to the culture of Malaysia because they have been abroad for so many years. So from these findings, we compute a diaspora survey we did back in 2020. And this survey is just to understand what are the needs of our Malaysians abroad. What do they want? Do they want to return at the end of the day? So we did this survey, and 8 out of 10 Malaysians abroad, they eventually want to return at some point. So it could be many factors. It could be about family. It also could be about the opportunities available in Malaysia. And we asked further, those who does not want to return, 9 out of 10 of them would like to contribute at some point, would like to contribute in many forms, whether they return or not. So these findings are very, very interesting, and that is where we actually establish Malaysia at Heart, or My Heart. So as many of you may know, TalentCorp is under the Ministry of Human Resources, or KESUMA, and we are the champion who is running this program, My Heart program. So as I've mentioned earlier, the My Heart initiative is something that we take the approach of a more inclusive, more inclusivity. We adopt more inclusivity into this approach, whereby we understand many of our Malaysians, even students who are about to graduate and they are planning to work in Australia. So we understand you have your own career pathway that you're planning for your career. You have your own passion. So we are not, saying that you have to return and you have to contribute to Malaysia. No, this is where the brain circulation comes into place. You gain your experience abroad if you want to. You gain as many knowledge as you can, learn from the locals, and you bring back home at the end of the day, and you share, like how Chapin was saying just now. Share with Malaysians, local Malaysians. Share your experience, share your expertise. So this is what we envision with My Heart. I just want to point out another facilitation that we have, which is the collaboration facilitation under My Heart. So this is where Malaysians, they have been abroad for so many years. They don't have any plans to return, but they want to contribute. So we actually work with this one diaspora, Dr. Amy Poh. So she hails from Bukit Metajam in Penang, but she has been based in Tokyo, Japan for so many years. She married a local and she has beautiful kids already. But the passion of Malaysia in her, the nation building in her, is something that we are so very proud as a Malaysian. So we actually work with her in what we call the Malaysia-Japan Visionaries Conference. Just recently happened in September, and it is being endorsed by our YB Minister, Stephen Sim, our Ministry of Human Resources Minister. And this conference is a really big conference where they empower Malaysian researchers in Malaysia, in public universities in Malaysia, to go and present their papers in Japan. So we actually supported these Malaysian researchers to go to Japan and present their papers in this conference. So all of these the committee of MJVC, they call it Malaysia-Japan Visionary Conference, are all Malaysian. So they were working really hard to ensure that this conference, happen in successful manner. So many other examples. Dr. Jane from UK and Dr. Ainaru from UK. We were working very closely with these two incredible individuals to actually empower teachers in Sabah, specifically in Lahad Datu, to teach students. So it's like a train the trainers program to teach students in AI and robotics. So there's a lot of amazing things that Malaysians worldwide are doing right now, but they're not returning. So this is where Malaysia at Heart comes into place, and how we envision Malaysia at Heart to venture in the future as well. But of course, if you plan to return, sorry, I'm taking a lot of time, but if you plan to return, of course, we do have employment facilitation as well. So we're working with companies such as Experian, other big companies in the financial industries, oil and gas industries, who are offering these opportunities for fresh graduates, even internship opportunities as well. So we are also doing this under My Heart as well. So yeah, that's all for me.
Thank you so much for that. Oh yes, Chai Ping, would you like to share something?
Yeah, sorry, Candice. Let me just chime in. I think Shazween brought up, many good points, right? I think I like to start off with, I keep in touch with, if you're a fresh graduate and you're thinking, my parents say don't come home lah, the quality of life, you're not very good lah, starting pay 4,000 ringgit only lah. But really, I would strongly encourage you to rethink what is being said and what's being told to you, right? You're sent to university, you're sent abroad for a reason, right? So that you had that, you can, higher order thinking, right? Your higher order thinking should come into play, right? Now, we always say, of course, our very close neighbor, because of kindredship, because of our history, because of our culture, it's always easier to say, oh, it's easy lah, let's go to Singapore, especially now 3.5 times more, culture is the same, food can lah, quite similar, of course, who has better food. But anyway, we can always say that. But don't forget, every time you guys come back for a holiday, the quality of life here is fantastic. When you go and eat out there, you may earn 4,000 ringgit or 5,000 ringgit, whatever the going rate is. Of course, there are some, depending, right? Some smaller enterprises, SMEs and all that. Of course, they may not pay the 4 or 5,000 or 7,000, right? But you can still live. You live in Australia today, you're studying in Australia today, right? And many abroad in, half my family is in Singapore, in Australia, in the UK and whatnot. Many of them, oh, you're so expensive, so expensive. Even my son complains. He's in Melbourne, right? So expensive, so expensive. So wants to spend to buy vegetables, so expensive. I said, there you go. But when you come back, the quality of life. So I think when you do comparison, it must be apple to apple comparison, right? Someone said, was it Shazween? You said this, right? The grass is always greener elsewhere. Yes, the grass looks greener from your perspective, and the grass will be greener if you bring your own watering can over as well. So I think we must balance, whatever decision we make, cover all our bases. So quality of life, think about it. Work-life integration. I think both our esteemed speakers today talk about, with technology today, there is no reason why you cannot, have better quality of life. Well, I think we should leverage on technology to work better, right? So whether you're working in Malaysia or not, I work in Malaysia. I think I'm working overseas, okay? Because I tell you what time I finish work every night. Yesterday was Friday night. I finished at 1 a.m. Why? Because I do a global role, but I'm very proud that I do a global role based in Malaysia. In the past, we always say, oh, we don't have opportunities. Malaysians don't have opportunities because we don't talk. We don't turn on video, right? But today, the opportunities are here. I was in Johor. I just came back the night before, right? Iskandar, Johor. Now with the special economic zone with Singapore, I hope. Yesterday, the government announced a lot of incentive to go to Forest City in Johor, right? Now, if we can keep doing that, think about all these opportunities rather than say, no, Malaysia no good. Let's go to Singapore. Yeah. So I say, oh, healthcare. Let me tell you something. I've got doctors in the family who work in Australia and the UK. So my neighbors are doctors and all that in UM. My parents, before they passed away, my mom was in University Hospital. Dad was in General Hospital Kuala Lumpur. Now it's renamed of HKL. Both were so happy. And let me tell you, healthcare in Malaysia is one of the best in the world. Best in the world. I can't remember. I think we paid like 5 ringgit for some consultation. And who is the consultation? Who is the consultant? It's a consultant, the professor who teaches in the university. We are like, wow, So, put things into perspective, no country in the world is perfect. No country, not even Australia, no country, right? But put it all into perspective when you come home. And if you decide to come home, your salary may not be the 3.5 times more, but you also won't be sleeping in a storeroom, because you'll be sleeping, in a decent apartment, or your parent bought the apartment for you, or your house, your room is, think about all that. We've got students in the UK, so many of them, they all told me, the summer break just finished, right? My neighbors, my friends, my relatives, auntie, don't worry. We finished, we want to come back. We want to come back. Cannot tahan really, cannot tahan. Wow, suddenly shooting here. Suddenly, US is the same. So please, I only urge you, yes, we do that brain circulation. Hopefully, we do brain gain, right? Of course, Malaysia's statistics is higher than the average of 3.6. Ours is 5.6 or something like that. So I think I urge you to at least cover your bases. Don't have a one-sided view about salary very low. But with that salary, please think what quality you can buy. I would urge you to think this way, rather than, I'm a biochemistry, don't know got what job, go and be teacher, I don't want to be teacher. Don't think like that. Then you create the opportunity. Like what I did in my small way only, small way. Okay. Thanks.
Thanks so much for that, Chai Ping.
Sorry, if I can just add as well, I think that idea of perspective is so important because I study the health sciences, and as a student here in Australia, we actually learn about how good other healthcare systems, including the Malaysian healthcare system is. And obviously, it's a proud moment when you're sitting there in class and your professor's going, "Oh, this country, Malaysia, has one of the better healthcare systems out there." And I think a lot of us don't think about that. We just look at the situation in hospitals and go, "Oh, it sucks." But then there's so much more to it. And like you said, no country's going to be perfect. We as students know what it's like to live on budgets, on small allowances. But a lot of us enjoy our time as well. So you don't need to be infinitely rich to enjoy. I think there's a lot more to it. So I definitely, I can relate to that. And it's not something you think about until it's brought up to you. But yeah, definitely something I just wanted to raise because yeah, it's something I think about quite often too.
Yeah, thanks for that, Nicholas. And I think just now Shazween mentioned that one of the challenges for Malaysians when they want to come back to Malaysia to work is that there is a mismatch of skills. What do you think, and especially the students here who are listening today, what could they do if they face such challenges in the future? Or what initiatives are out there to help them to help facilitate this move back home to work?
Okay, I think so when I speak to students right now, especially when we're talking in a professional manner, of course I see some lacking in certain skills, especially to Malaysian graduates especially. It doesn't matter if they're studying abroad or they're studying locally, and I'm not sure if Chai Ping, coming from the industry, would agree with me. But I've also interviewed many Malaysian graduates for any positions that were available in TalentCorp, and of course there's some lacking in the sense where communication is lacking, interpersonal skills. So most of them are soft skills. So this is what I tell whenever I speak with Malaysian students. Some especially in Australia, I believe the university, many of the universities are not making it compulsory for Malaysian students or perhaps students to take internship or to do internship. It's not a compulsory for them to do as compared to Malaysian universities. But I say, take this opportunity. You come back home, you're on your summer break, do internship. This is where you will get the corporate experience. You will get to speak with experienced people. You will get to upskill your communication skills. Yeah, it's just 3 months, it's just 2 months, but these are valuable skills that you can adapt within these 2 months and 3 months. So even if it's not compulsory for you, I would highly recommend for you take this up. So this is where you actually have the hands-on experience in industry or anywhere that you if you're taking any course of studies, anything that will be relatable to your course of study. Yeah. I mean, from these hands-on experience, you will getting valuable experience from these experts. Then again, you will have the opportunity to basically implement what you have once you already graduate and enter your career. So yeah, that's all from me.
I will echo that. I think don't be afraid to take on. So internship is a fabulous way to get entry into a corporate or manufacturing, in wherever in work life, right? And even if it's a bad experience, it's still a very valuable experience, right? And today I can tell you, a lot of people say, oh, if you go in as an intern, right, you make coffee or stand at the photocopier. I said, no, there are no more photocopiers, right, because of ESG and all that, right? So they say, oh, they will get bullied, and this is whose fault? Let me tell you, sometimes a lot of it parents' fault, a lot of it employers' fault, right? So we have so many interns that joined us, right? 3 months, 6 months. Let me tell you one great story. One of the interns who was on a sabbatical, he didn't know what he wanted to do. Brilliant student, didn't know what he wanted to do. He spent, I think, 7 or 8 months with us. He kept saying, Chai Ping, I like it here. He was 19 years old or something. So he took a gap year because after his IGCSE or SPM, he didn't know what he wanted to do. He said, then the father pushed him to me. So I said, okay, I'll take him in. Paid quite well also, 1,008, can belanja us makan also, But my point is this, right? If you're going to bring in an intern, treat them like a professional. Whether they're 18 years old, 19 years old, 20 years old, whatever years old, doesn't matter. Treat them like a professional. Let them do real work, enrich the experience, right? So after 7 or so months with us, finally, a few nights ago, he pinged me. He said, Chua Ping, I am going to Manchester University already. My calling is I want to do economics and mathematics. Makes me so proud. I think it was something like that. It was very changgeh one, right? Very, very, wow, it's like, okay, if I graduate today, compete with you guys, I will never find a job. That's why, thank goodness, I graduated much earlier than you guys. So I'm very, very proud of that. And employers got to be open. There are many, many employers who say, oh, this person, English not good lah, attitude bad. Yeah, but they are our children, our future. We have to harness today's future, today's children. I've got children. I mean, my son is 21, right? It's a very, very different ballgame. Just like someone gave us an opportunity, we should give some. So I think when you have that opportunity, being in Australia or here, especially here, when you come back, try to talk to your uncle, auntie, parents, and all that, get a job. Doesn't matter, even speed 99 as a cashier, get a job. You never know. Don't be choosy about the job. If the job doesn't pay you also, in the good old days, right, the master and the pupil kind of, I pay the master to teach me his skill. You should think like that. Because as what Shazween said, you are collecting experiences. You are building your network. Every time you go back to Australia, you say, oh, my experience, now I can become a better student because your perspectives have changed. Every time you come back, oh, even 1 month, go and work. If you have issues looking for internship, please come and talk to, Prof. Shazween, myself. We have friends in the industry who can help you. Don't be choosy, right? When I was in Accenture, atas, some of my interns, oh, my father said I have to send a driver, right? I said, I didn't hire your father. I didn't hire your driver. I hired you. You decide what you want to do with your life. But don't complain about what the world is not giving you back, because what the world gives you is what you give the world. It's reciprocal. It's reciprocal. Your relationship with the world, your relationship, anything is reciprocal. When you keep saying, I don't get the opportunity, I don't have, it's reciprocal because you're not giving. Now, every time you do, what will happen is you will find that more and more doors will be made available to you. So think about that. Don't keep thinking about money first. The money will come. The money will come, I assure you. Okay?
Yeah, and I think Prof.
Yeah, I was going to say, better let Prof say something, right?
Don't worry about it.
Yeah, thank you. In my view, right, ask yourself one question. What do you want for yourself if you're pursuing your educations in any of the university overseas? The main principle is you're building a good foundations, right? So you really have to find a way to make good use of the foundations. And what you are looking for is the opportunities. Yeah, if the opportunities is not available, you are the one who create the opportunity for yourself. Another thing is lifelong learning is very important. Not saying that, let's say I'm studying economics, so I'm very focused on economics. I'm not going to learn any other additional skill. This is not a survival skills that it won't give. I mean, this is a survival skills that we need now. Even I'm economics, even I'm the academicians and researchers in the university, we also being tasked to do our own startup. Yeah, and surprisingly, my startup is IT technology company. Everyone got so surprised. Why econs background, ITs and programmings, everything. So this is like the foundation you already built, but of course it needs times to build. Everything's fail, you create another chapters of new journey that make you become stronger and greater. So those keeping doing well, I means you are good. Maybe in terms of foundation, you really lay out a very good foundations. Those who fail, not necessarily shows that you're not good. Actually, your path your experience will give you a better opportunities later on. It's a matter of time. It's a matter of time. So once you make any decisions, just wait against the carrot and sticks. Yeah, that's all from my end. Thank you.
Yeah, and actually, sorry, if I just remember from our discussions, you were talking about one of your PhD students who, I guess, like wasn't expecting to do a PhD. Do you want to share that story as well?
Oh, yeah. Like my students, graduated from Australia universities. Yeah, during the COVID time, actually, she take her own initiative to contact me. Yeah, you can take initiative to contact any person, anybody in Malaysia, like Madam Shazween, Madam Chai Ping, we are more than happy to help you. Yeah, if let's say there's opportunity available to you, then we will give it to you because you take initiative, you know how to create opportunity for yourself. So take a step further. Yeah, that require from yourself. Like the students, my current PhD student, she's actually staying in Australia because of COVID. Yeah, she would like to return to Malaysia, but I think everyone, the young generation, they would think that, yeah, they want to migrate to explore further because of COVID. Then now she's fully sponsored by Singapore Food Agency. You see how we network each other? So it's a Singapore Food Agency, SFA, sponsor her to do a PhD in University of Malaya. This is how we network. That is how we move forward towards the SDG, partnership internationally. And I think a lot of companies now, they are doing global shared business. Yeah, so you will have a chance to be located in different corner of the world for certain times that make you become better. Then you make a decision when and to where that you want to settle down yourself towards the end. But the things that I want to advise all of you to think about a greater pictures on the social security sides, because aging population is coming in. Yeah, you have your parents to look after. Maybe when you set up the families at that point of time, you have another, your children to look after. So think about how you're going to manage social security. So don't let go whatever earnings that you have generated, but you're not able to manage well. Then you ended up with like asking yourself, what's the point you work in overseas for so many years? Once you return, you got nothing. So wait again the carrot and stick. Yeah, thank you.
Candice, if I can just add very, very quickly, right? And also, I think, Prof and Shazween have, said really, really wonderful stuff. You guys have to find your purpose. What do you want to do, right? You have to find your purpose because that purpose will take you a long, long way, right? To what Prof is saying, right, just now, she said that I decided to stay here. I'm happy here. I did my PhD here. And all that. So you have to find your purpose, why you do what you do. And don't keep comparing, oh, my friend in Singapore working 3.5 times more. There will be, for those of us who know Chinese or Chinese educated, the mountain is always higher. 一山比一山高. You will never be the richest person. Maybe you will. Okay, maybe you will. Sorry, I shouldn't say that. Maybe you will. But it's going to be very hard, right? Whoever, Elon Musk or whoever. Think about that. So you must find your purpose. Very, very important. With that purpose, it will drive you. But as a Malay saying, niat kena betul. Your niat, your intentions must be pure. Think about, and with aging population, our economy, and now you've seen like Japan and China and all that, and Singapore, how can you contribute if you come back, right? The parents or family, whatever, but you have to find your purpose. Purpose must be clear. All roads is going to be difficult, but the roads will open up for you. Despite how challenging, the options will. I never thought I would do a global role in Malaysia. I never thought. Like what Prof said, I never thought I would go to the ends of the earth, right? I go to all sorts of places, and people think, oh, you need to go and work overseas to have that opportunity. You don't have to anymore today.
Yeah, great. Well, to our three speakers, thank you very much for sharing your thoughts throughout those two key areas. So starting with brain circulation, I think changing that narrative a bit. It's not gloomy. I think everyone thinks it's a bad situation, but there's so much to it. And I mean, we have three experts here who I'm sure know a lot more than us, and they've got a positive perspective on it. And I absolutely think that as students, we should as well. And then, of course, we talked about some of the solutions that are there, and there's evidence that things are changing. So I think that for me, that was really good to hear about. And what about you, Candice? What was your kind of highlight of today?
Yeah, thanks, Nicholas. I think I really learned a lot. I mean, if by the end of this session I don't go back to Malaysia to work, I think I've not heard anything at all. So yes, very persuaded here by our three expert panelists today. And I think we have some fantastic questions in the chat. So I'm just gonna head on over and have a look. Yes. So we have one from Firas. Thanks, Firas, for your question. He says that, what do you think about Malaysian fresh grads coming back, but they haven't done well in uni, and how they are able to create opportunities for themselves if, let's say, their job hunting activity in Malaysia is hitting a wall? And I know we have responses from Chai Ping, but let's hear it out from anyone who would like to answer.
Sorry, Professor Chen, do you want to go first? Okay, I totally agree 100% with Chai Ping. When I receive when I receive resumes or CVs, I don't usually look at the results. I look at the experience, internship experience you may have, and perhaps you are part of any organization, student organization. This is where I look into, so more on experience. And many of my hirees that I hired are not so great in their education, but they have good attitude. They have positive attitude, that they're able to learn. They are willing to learn, so these are the things or the characters that I look into whenever I interview for people. Giving you an example, a very very simple, a very close example is myself. I didn't do great when I studied in Australia. I didn't do great. I took up corporate finance and investment, and it wasn't my passion at all. So when I attended interviews, especially in the roles that has something to do with my course of study and major, I failed tremendously. But there was one interview that I remember to this day. The interviewer was saying that your technical is not that great. I mean, it's a slap in the face, but your attitude is what I admire the most. Go on, please go on with this attitude, and you will go further. And I'm so lucky enough that I met with a representative from TalentCorp, and it's something that I am very passionate in doing, contributing back to the Malaysian talents at the end of the day. So I have not looked back. I have not looked back into going into financial. I mean, I don't want to say this so much, because I know that it will perhaps deter your decision into going into what you're studying. But this is something that I tell students. Yes, you're taking this course. Yes, you're taking this major, but there's plenty of other opportunities as well that you can explore. This is where you need to attend sharing session with employers, sharing session with the experts. Get to know, network with these experts, get to know what is available out there. So I have this conventional parents, like I mentioned just now. I wanted to take up psychology in the beginning after I graduate. I finished my SPM, and my mother said, "Nak kerja apa? You know, nak kerja apa in psychology?" But fun fact is, you can go anywhere if you have psychology background. You can get into HR. So I regretted so much not listening to myself, and take up psychology. So because this is what I am passionate about. So what I'm trying to say here, my point is no matter how your result is, if you have good attitude, if you have the passion in you, you're very passionate in what you want, then again, coming to the question, what do you want actually? That is what matters. Yeah, that's all from me.
Yeah, I think I totally agree with Shazween's your points, but I want to add on few things. I think the most important thing is you need to manage your fear. Yeah. If you got rejected, that's not the end of the world. Everyone experienced the same, not you. Yeah. Same like our Datuk Lee Chong Wei. Yeah. He's never, I mean, he don't even have a chance to be the Olympic champions or whatever, you see. But is it he's not good? Or you see? So people look at the attitudes and behavior. That is much more easy. That is the most important one. One more thing is I would like to share my students' experience with all of you. Actually, when I noticed that our students, when they do a job search, they actually do not know what information they are looking for, because you do not know what do you want. Yeah. And you have, I mean, at the very entry level, we do not know what is our future career, but choose something that you passionate with. Yeah, every area, every aspect, actually they will end up with good things if you really have a good discipline, attitude, behavior, and perseverance. Yeah. Thank you.
Right. Thank you so much, Professor Chen and Shazween. We do have other questions in the chat. One of them is, can TalentCorp share the incentives to individuals who would like to return to Malaysia, and what types of talent are needed for Malaysia?
Okay, if we're talking about students, right, I was mentioning about the internship opportunities where you should be doing internship, even if it's not compulsory for your course of study. So we have what we call the MyNext platform. Try to go on this platform. It's a TalentCorp's initiative under Ministry of Human Resources. And under this platform, you are able to actually take the profiling tool, a profiling assessment. This assessment is where you are able to understand what are your preference, what do you want, what are your interests. So from these you would be able to help you out in your career journey, in the career roadmap. So please utilize and optimize these platforms that are available for you. And of course, My Heart. Please get on My Heart and see what are the opportunities, because it's just not about getting people to connect with one another, but it's also providing these kind of opportunities for you, employment opportunities. We have over 70 companies that are already on board and are offering job opportunities to Malaysians abroad, so including students as well. So please get on My Heart and try to explore these opportunities. But if we're talking about professionals, maybe I could touch a little bit on professionals. Say you have the intention to stay on and work in Australia, and after 3 years, you've decided to come back home. So you can leverage on our returning expert program, where we are providing incentives to you. So we have a few incentives such as tax incentives, we have car incentives and shipping incentives. So these are the kind of initiative that we provide just to ease Malaysia to the transition of returning of Malaysians, because they have been abroad for quite some time. So we're providing this kind of advantages of benefits to our Malaysians abroad. So, sorry, head on to our website and find out more about our incentives or initiatives for Malaysians abroad.
For fresh graduates, if I can jump in, you can look at so TalentCorp has a whole host and suite of I guess options and features, right? The other one is Graduan as well. Graduan also has a huge database of graduates in Australia and the UK and all that, and they are also always very willing to help. So I think go on to Graduan as well, and I'm sure there are some other platforms that you can go on directly, right? Not through just a talent bank or something like that. So be on that lookout, be on that lookout. Yeah.
Thank you so much for that. And now we have another question for Chai Ping. What opportunities for global mobility does any Malaysian company offer to retain talents?
Yeah,
while allowing for international experience. Yep, sorry.
Yeah, sure. Thanks, Candice. Yeah, most companies, whether they are international companies, local companies, small companies, and all that, I think travel It's not, it's not like in those days where, oh, you can only travel if and whatever. It doesn't happen that way. And of course, technology has helped us a lot. We can, work from home. I work from home a lot. Actually, predominantly, I work from home. Technology has supported me. Of course, I have to do the travels as well. My staff members also have to travel. Many of my peers, be it multinationals or local companies, require some bits of travel. So gone are the days where, because we live in a global village today, there will be some form of travel. It's not like, oh, just because I'm a Malaysian company I don't get to travel. It's not that case anymore. So I don't know whether that answers your question, Haikal, but we don't just use travel as an incentive anymore. Most companies don't do that. I think in the past, there is something called, secondment to the UK and you do a couple of years and all that. We don't need to do that alone anymore, because mobility is something that is almost expected of most jobs, if not all jobs, right? So I hope that answers your question. There are many other things now that we use to retain talent rather than global mobility. And I sponsor scholarships as well. And I don't even bond, people who go on scholarship. Why? Because if I want to use TalentCorp's, Shazween's words, talent needs to be circulated, right? And I am building the ecosystem. I don't want just to build for Experian, right? And if, there are talent abroad, we are building that ecosystem. And if I build a talent and they go to my competitor, I don't even view competitors anymore, because we are all in that ecosystem. Then I have enriched and made the ecosystem, the landscape, more fertile, right? And that should be the way. So there's no competition as such, right? And I also want to say one more thing. Around if I didn't do very well in university, and I've hired a whole host of, I don't know what the CGPA is, but I think for Australian graduates would be second lower, third class honors and things like that, right? I've hired many of them, and they've done very well in life. So to what Prof said, one failure, one you did not do so well, does not determine your destiny in life, please. And there's something called fail forward. And that is the agile methodology. Every time you fail, you're learning something and you're refining yourself as a character, refining your own journey, right? The other thing is, I want to talk about yesterday, 2 days ago, yesterday actually, I was in Johor. Now as part of that Johor Iskandar and all that, the ministers, the government officials are talking about talent reservoir, not just talent pools, talent ecosystem in my word. And because of building the reservoir or pools or channels and whatnot, I don't even just hire graduates anymore, because I'm in a data and technology. And if Malaysia wants to go into that digital economy, don't be so hung up about just your grades. I think doing well is important. I tell my son that, by the way. Doing well is important because you have to work very, very hard, because there's nothing like hard work and that diligence. But getting that paper is not the only thing in life. It's what you gain from it, that journey of experience that is more important. And now we are even looking at for STEM roles, digital, very digital. If you want to be a software developer, a coding expert, you don't need that degree. So we are looking at cadets who go through that route, so that we are building that ecosystem from, of course, predominantly still graduates, but building the ecosystem and the reservoir so that we can really push nation building forward.
Thank you so much for that answer, Shazween. Now, Nicholas, do we have any other questions?
Yeah, so I think we received quite a philosophical one in the registration form. And I guess we can save that as our last question, so a good way to end. So I think when it comes to brain drain, we talk a lot about jobs and unis, but then this idea of nation building probably begins even before that, in children. So how do you think that we can foster that in our younger generation? Too tough.
Your line was breaking a little bit, Nicholas, but I think I got the question. How do we foster nation building, is it? Yeah, I think it starts from us as parents, right? So I've been very blessed with fantastic parents who always say, you know, we must be grateful, right? So I'm very grateful for being born here and not in another country that is, you know, sinking, or, you know, I think we don't have real natural disasters, you know, highly educated workforce, naturally rich in resources. And you know, so I think gratitude, right? And I think we can, if we can all think about how blessed we are, how grateful we are for the opportunity that has given to us, right? Like yourselves, you know, you've been given the opportunity to study abroad, you know, and every time we think about that, maybe someone else has been deprived, then you realize, right, your purpose, your passion, and all that will play out. And you think, okay, I can do more. What can we do for a better tomorrow? What can we do? So I think that helps. So I think I probably do that in my children a bit more than I should, but yeah, I think that. And then I go back to Negaraku. I actually go back to Negaraku. I said, when you sing Negaraku, I hope all of you can sing Negaraku. Think about the lyrics. Di sinilah tumpahnya darahku. It means a lot. Means you will shed blood and spill your blood here in this nation. When you think about all this and think how blessed you are, don't think about what you don't have. Think about what you have. Think about the opportunities that this country has given you. I think, you know, you'll be in a better state to make decisions. Whether you want to stay or you want to work elsewhere first and come back, or, you know, for whatever reasons, make Malaysia an option.
Did our other speakers have thoughts as well?
I think towards the end, we have to keep our principles right. Yeah. Yeah. Do the right things and do things right is very important. Yeah, actually Malaysia for me is a lot of opportunities. Yeah. Because you think about we don't have any disaster. Our geographical, you know, locations, you know, we are small but open economy. When I mean those in the business sectors, you can see we actually got a lot of business opportunities right here, and it's much more easier to liaise with all walks of people because of our cultures that we have. Yeah. So again, is I want to emphasize the talents here. If you already graduated, yeah, with a degree, but you're not keeping abreast with the currents, you know, or the development of the skills, and you're not practicing the skill, yeah, and that actually turns out another bad picture. Yeah, so I hope this everyone can bear in mind on this. Yeah, thank you.
Thank you so much, Chai Ping and Professor Chen. Now, all right, everyone, it is nearing 1 p.m. in Malaysia and 3 p.m. for us here in Australia. So unfortunately, this means that we'll have to wrap up our session today. And apologies to those whose questions were not covered in the Q&A session, but we'll try and get in touch with you later.
Yeah, so with all that's been said today, we hope that you gained a lot of insights into Malaysia's brain drain or brain circulation situation. Of course, there are many factors that drive the issue, but there are many changes that are affecting our country. So while ultimately many Malaysians still feel that we want to go home, like it's home, and we want to go back, and in that case, we need to encourage a lot of these initiatives that have been discussed today, both, of course, from the government, but also from the individual. There's a lot of self-initiative that's involved to, you know, create the best future that we can with what we have been given. I think that's been such an important message for, you know, myself, I'm sure Candice, and all of our participants today as well. So on that note, do make note of some of the programs that have been mentioned, and we will follow up with an email. Find what works best for you, right? Follow your passions, as has been discussed. Of course, to our speakers, Ms. Chua Chai-Ping, Ms. Shazween, Professor Yong, thank you very much for volunteering your time and your thoughts during today's discussions. I think it's important that students understand the perspectives of experts and not just hear what they hear in the Facebook chats or something. And on behalf of MASCA and our audience, we'll be contacting you regarding a small token of appreciation, just to say thank you so much, and we'll keep in touch.
All the best.
Thank
Thank you
you,
very
thank
much
you.
for having us. And hopefully see you all soon. And if you all come back, then selamat pulang ke tanah air. All right. Thank you so much. All the best to all of
Yeah.
you. Thank you.
Thank
Thank
you,
you,
everyone.
Prof and Shazween as well. Thanks,
Thank
Nicholas
you,
and
thank you.
Candice. Yeah. Bye.
Thank you. And before the speakers leave, could we have a picture together, please?
Sure, I think oh, okay, yeah, I thought Professor Chen has left.
We'll just remove everyone's phone. If we could get our audience as well, if you're there, it'd be great to have you guys in the picture.
Nicholas, would you like to unshare your screen?
Yes, that's good point.
Okay. And 1, 2, 3. Okay, all good. Thank you so much. Thank you so much for our
Thank
speakers.
you so much. Take care, everybody. Yeah. Bye.
Thank you, everyone. Take care.
Thank you, bye-bye.
Thank you. And to the participants who are still here, we will now begin our lucky draw. Nicholas, would you like to pull up the wheel?
Yes, the wheel of fortune as well. All right.
Thanks for that.
All right. So for the lucky draw, we will spin this wheel containing the names of all of our registrants. And if your name is called, please quickly identify yourselves in the chat. And so if you are one of our 3 winners for today, then yeah, just let us know if you're here, because we want to make sure that you are listening. And if you take too long, unfortunately, your ticket will be forfeited. So just try and stay engaged with us for this portion, if you don't mind. So yeah, I'll get spinning. Candice, if you don't mind just letting me know who's responded in the chat. All right, let's see. It's a very cluttered wheel today. All right, Ruchen, if you're in the chat,
Chen, are you
please.
here?
Yes, I'm here.
Yay! All right, well,
Congrats.
Congrats.
congrats. All right, we'll be in touch with all of our winners at the end. Let's see who's our second lucky winner. Mandy, are you in the chat with us? A couple more seconds, maybe.
We may have to spin for someone else. Nicholas.
Right. Okay. Sorry, Mandy. Unfortunately, we'll have to keep going. All right. Yuni, if you're with us, let us know.
Yes.
Yay. All right. Congratulations. All right. Let's see who our lucky third is. All right. Let's see. Do we have Amin in the chat?
I don't think he's in the chat. I don't think he's in the chat.
Not in the meeting. Okay. All right. Okay. Let's see. One more time. Oh. Oh, sorry, Yuni. You can't win twice. Kushairi, are you with us today?
No, I don't think Heidi is here as well.
Nope. Okay, gosh. Muhammad Furkan, are you with us?
No, not me. Oh, I thought it's me. Okay, okay.
No,
So
not Muhammad.
yeah, Furkan. I think Furkan is here.
Yep, I'm here.
Awesome. All right.
Nice. Congrats
Well,
to all
congratulations.
three winners. Yeah. We'll be sending an email to you guys to contact you about the gift cards. But what a great way to end this Suara Muda today. Thank you everyone for attending, and please follow us on our social media and stay updated on whatever MASCA National has in store for the audience next. Yeah, and before you go, please provide the feedback in the link that's going to be sent in the chat. We greatly appreciate your time today to attend this session again, and take care. We hope to see you guys soon.
Yeah, thank you so much. We have our next Suara Muda in 2 weeks' time. That's where we really focus on. So now we know about brain drain. We're going to look a lot at kind of industry perspectives on the working matters. It's called Working Insights, and we'll have experts from different industries to kind of discuss, these internship opportunities, how to build those experiences. So a great lead from what we've discussed today. So definitely, as Candace said, have a check through our social media, our Instagrams and whatnot. You'll see the links for registration there. We think it would be a great addition to what you've learned today. So thank you so much. As the one who's been planning this, I hope it's been a good session. Again, the feedback form in the chat. And we hope to see you in 2 weeks' time. Have a good day, everyone.